Hey folks, welcome into the News 12 Now desk. Thanks for joining us here. It's Friday. We have made it to the end of the week. It's May 12th here, a couple days away from Mother's Day. So hopefully you've got all your gifts and all your plans set to go because it's coming up pretty quickly. Taking a look outside here, pretty blue skies, a couple clouds out there, but overall not a bad morning at all. Great way to end the week. Hopefully this rain stays away. If you've got any plans to get out to, I don't know, the Green Jackets game, anything like that, taking mom out for dinner. All of that hopefully will be good for tonight. We're taking a look here at some of our top headlines, including the victim of the Virginia Tech shooting back in 2007. His mother is now continuing to honor his legacy with a scholarship to a local high schooler. Our latest I-Team investigation, what is going on with the 5th Street Bridge and the mascot Cocky over at the University of South Carolina reveals her true feathers. So we have got quite a few good things in store. We start off though with this Virginia Tech victim. It's been 16 years now since a gunman killed Lakeside graduate Ryan Clark in the Virginia Tech mass shooting. Clark died trying to save someone else's life, and every day his family works to raise money in his memory to help with scholarships for kids in our area. Last night, the Ryan Clark Foundation held their annual scholarship banquet to award scholarships to 3 students. Our Taylor Martin was there and spoke with Ryan's mom about the scholarship and her son.
According to nonprofit gunviolence.org, we've seen 210 mass shootings so far in 2023. And Ryan Clark's mother says it all hits too close to home.
It sends you back. You never get over it because you know another parent's heart is broken for a lifetime. So I am so ready for people to stop talking and start doing, to do something to stop what we're having and the continuation of senseless gun violence.
Action. It's what Latita Clark wants to see to stop what she calls senseless gun violence. And by giving back to students in the community, she hopes to be the change while honoring her son.
Bad things do happen, but you can make something good come out of something bad.
This year's scholarship recipients received a total of $3,500 to support their college education.
It feels great. I'm shocked, honestly. I just do community service just because it makes me feel happy to help others, but I'm honored to have been chosen as the recipient of the scholarship.
Community service, willingness to help others, and positivity. They're the characteristics of Ryan Clark and the foundation of how scholarship recipients are chosen. It's these characteristics scholarship winner Brooklyn Oliver says she hopes put an end to gun violence.
So I hope that through this scholarship and through remembering the lives lost, and rather than remembering what happened, and in place of what happened, that will promote positivity and hopefully be able to stop this forever.
The Ryan Clark Foundation holds fundraising events during the year, but if you'd like to donate on your own time, we'll have the link on our website, WRDW.com.
Okay, thanks for that, Taylor. Truly turning some pain into purpose there, helping out a lot of local kids. The U.S. government could be breaking a promise it made to thousands in our area who answered the call to serve in the Cold War and to help clean up the dangerous mess it left behind. For years, our I-Team has been exposing a high cancer rate among those who worked at Savannah River site. It's so high, Congress eventually passed a law to make it easier to get money and medical benefits. But as our I-Team's Meredith Anderson has uncovered, it appears the Department of Labor denies more claims than it approves.
The I-Team crunched the numbers, and we found that only 41% of claims are approved. That's fewer than half. It's even worse at SRS. We looked at the latest numbers, and doing the math, we found that 34% of claims are approved. That means 66% of claims are denied.
They served in secrecy, but it is no secret the mission behind the curtain at the Department of Energy's Savannah River site was to weaken the Iron Curtain. Thousands battled the Soviet Union, not by firing weapons, but by helping to make them. During the Cold War, SRS produced all of the nation's tritium and a third of its weapons-grade plutonium. But the nuclear arms race came at a cost.
The radiation dangerous. Contamination more dangerous.
So dangerous, President Clinton signed a law to help those getting sick from radiation exposure. Workers, or even their families left behind, could qualify for up to $400,000 plus medical benefits. It's called the Energy Employees Occupational Illness Compensation Program Act. On its website, the Department of Energy promises timely, appropriate, and accurate decisions and prompt payment. But for years, we've exposed a process that's anything but.
I've been denied 3 times, I believe it is already.
And I was denied in 2006.
I've been denied 3 times.
But others answered another call. What to do with the nuclear waste? People like Harvey Reef.
I would have never stepped foot in those facilities, knowing what I know now. I would have done something else with my career.
Oddly enough, Harvey Reef's career had nothing to do with nuclear weapons. Not at first. He began with nuclear power, almost a year to the day after this. March 28, 1979, 3 Mile Island. A partial meltdown of a reactor in Pennsylvania also caused a partial meltdown in the nation's sense of security, which led to a host of new regulations for nuclear energy.
I'm now doing emergency response planning for the 7 nuclear plants with the state of Illinois.
In 1986, an accident in the former Soviet Union further cemented the need for safety plans. An explosion at Chernobyl sent clouds of radioactive material into the sky, contaminating nearby cities that, to this day, look like ghost towns.
Because in the nuclear world, there's no room for error.
Which is why the Department of Energy needed Harvey Reef. Just 2 years after Chernobyl, he started working at SRS. His main job was making sure everyone stayed safe, but he never imagined he might not be safe. And he certainly never expected the fight for his life would also include a fight with the government.
We were 54 when this started, and now we're 73.
Yeah, like somebody threw a switch and like my health went south, all at one time.
2002, 5 skin cancers. 2004, bladder cancer, kidney cancer on both his left and right side, rectal cancer, and 3 more skin cancers. From 2005 to 2012, 10 more skin cancers. 2016, pancreatic cancer. Then from 2018 to 2021, 14 more skin cancers.
And any one of the cancers that I had could have taken me out, could have killed me.
According to the Department of Labor, any one of those cancers could also mean Harvey Reef could be entitled to compensation and medical benefits because he worked at multiple Department of Energy covered facilities. There is a list of more than 300 of them across the country. But SRS has so many people with cancer, it's known as a special cohort. That means approval is just about automatic if you have at least one of 22 cancers and worked there during certain years. Harvey Reef has 4 of the cancers listed, and his employment fits the cohort time frame.
And you haven't received a dime from the Department of Energy?
I have not received any compensation whatsoever.
It's not from lack of trying. His claims have been denied time and time again. He's appealed them. Here is the transcript from a hearing in 2011 and another one in 2016. Even with his doctors linking his cancers to radiation exposure, it hasn't been enough.
I've got 8, probably approaching now 9,000 documents.
He can't understand why, with all that information, the Department of Labor constantly seems to need more.
They seem to continuously find other reasons to provide them with continuing information and to drag this out with the hope, I think, that I die. That's a terrible thing to say.
Terrible, yes. But we found numbers buried in an old Senate report that could support that. 2 decades ago, when the program was first starting, the then Secretary of Energy suggested it would cost $120 million a year for the first 3 years, and then rapidly decline after that. Nope, not even close. As of this month, it is more than $23 billion, and that's just in claims and medical bills. It doesn't even count what it costs to run the program. And claims approved after death mean Reef's family would receive half than if the government were to pay him benefits while he's still living.
It's been horrendous.
Harvey Reef is considered end-stage terminal, and by law, that means the Department of Labor is supposed to expedite his claim. He says the Department of Labor continues to drag this out.
It's difficult to understand. Are these people that cold and calloused?
And what is it like for you, too, watching it all?
It's emotional. It's very hard. I hope that they acknowledge this so he can have peace before the end of his time. Because he has no peace. This eats at his soul, day and night.
That's because, for the Reefs, this isn't about the money. It can't buy Harvey's health, but the benefits could make things easier.
I could keep him at home, and they would pay for people to come in and help me.
And have home health care.
It's also about the government fulfilling a promise.
If you want to learn more about the EEOI-CPA, we'll post more resources online and on our app. Just click on this story. We'll also upload our stories that start back in 2016, so you can rewatch those and learn more about our investigations.
Thank you for that, Meredith, and we'll show you real quick how to do that. If you go to our website here, it's the first story right now, but if you want to check back at a later date and it's not the first story, you can just go to this I-Team Investigations and this nuclear fallout right here, and this will have, let me pause it so it doesn't start playing. There we go. And this will have everything that you need here. Should probably be on here. Okay, not exactly seeing it right now, but if you saw that, if you still go to that story, play the video, go to the end, there was a little QR code. If you just scan that QR code, that'll take you to see everything that you need right there. So there still is a way to do that. Okay, let's move on here to Columbia County now. We're learning more about the Columbia County Sheriff's Office policies when it comes to chases. This comes after a chase led to a nasty accident on Wednesday on Washington Road. Here's a little snippet from our newscast last night.
Columbia County deputies say a shoplifting suspect who led them on a chase before crashing into a power pole is still in critical condition today. The traffic lights Morris Morgan took down are back up at Washington and Columbia roads. But some of you reached out to ask us about the Sheriff's Office policy when it comes to high-speed chases. In this chase, it involved an accused shoplifter with speed 60 to 80 miles per hour, ending within a mile of where it started. We're on your side with when and why deputies decide to chase suspects in Columbia County. Their policy shows the decision to pursue is up to the deputy on the case. Deputies must use due regard not to endanger life and property. Policy says deputies initiate traffic stops, but violators initiate pursuits. Deputies must continue to evaluate the situation based on the safety of the public and weather and other factors, and no deputy will be punished for not pursuing or for stopping a chase. Afterwards, the chain of command reviews the details of the deputy's report, and if you want to dive deeper into their policy, it's posted on our website.
We now know the name of a person killed in a motorcycle crash in Aiken. The coroner says the victim was 62-year-old Willie Thomas. Troopers say the crash happened around 9 o'clock on Croft Mill Road at Edgefield Highway. This was on Wednesday. Law enforcement says Thomas ran off the road and was thrown from his vehicle and died at the scene. A Burke County deputy is hospitalized after getting into a crash, and he is now, a Burke County deputy who was hospitalized is now home recovering. The Columbia County Sheriff's Office says the accident happened Monday when Deputy Johnny Snyder was driving on I-20 and rear-ended a dump truck that had slowed down. Snyder was found to be at fault in that crash. Well, it's a great spot to enjoy the Savannah River. The $10 million 5th Street Bridge renovation created a lot of buzz when it opened up about 8 months ago. The city even got an award earlier this month for their work on that bridge. But people who use it say its current condition does not match the price tag. Our Hallie Turner explains.
We're only 7.5 months since it opened, and already the decorative paint on the concrete is already wearing off.
From flaky paint to broken trash cans and vandalism, Kevin DeLagle says he's one of several with questions.
My concern is for this kind of beautiful facility, where are the maintenance dollars? What is the maintenance plan for this?
We asked about the maintenance plan and found there hasn't been one.
You guys have a plan in place for maintenance, upkeep, a budget for all of that?
So in the past, no, but moving forward, yes.
Dr. Malik says his department is aware of the issues and the plan is to fix things on an as-needed basis.
As-needed basis, we're going to touch it, and then I'm getting the annual repainting code from the contractor at least. So the paint is going to be ongoing challenge.
While there isn't a written plan, he has been working on funding and repairs for more security.
We're learning as we go how to mitigate our basically this vandalism thing. So we actually waiting on, we're going to install 2 gates.
He says he recently received approval for these repairs.
We have funding, everything. We're just waiting on contractors.
Dr. Malik tells us he hopes to have a new gate, cameras, and plans for repairs, and that'll help address the issues sooner. A special night for a lot of families over in Augusta last night. Augusta University held their hood and commencement ceremony for all of their grad students. The keynote speaker was Brittany Kisner. She's the wife of Kevin Kisner, who's on the PGA Tour. Such a big accomplishment for them, so congrats to all of those grads. And there are a couple more ceremonies happening today. The undergraduate ceremonies, one's at 10, the other's at 2. Doug Burks, the founder and CEO of Security Union Solutions, will be the keynote speaker there. So if you typically drive by or near the Augusta Marriott during those times, expect some heavy traffic. Maybe try to take another way if you can. Well, love him or hate him, you probably know him. Gamecocks mascot Cocky finally showing us her true feathers at the University of South Carolina's graduation. That's Sarah Sylvester. She's not just any Gamecock. She is locally grown from North Augusta, and she's got the brains to match the beak, majoring in biomedical engineering. Our Nick Veland went to Columbia to talk about her wild ride.
A performance Sarah Sylvester has done hundreds of times. Graduation was the first time in front of a crowd where only the shoes distinguished that she was Cocky, USC's mascot, showing the world her secret identity.
You know, it's just been, nonstop. People reaching out to me, oh my gosh, I had no idea. Or some people who are like, oh, I knew it, I knew it, everybody knows it.
Sarah's been mascot since her junior year, with only her parents and a few friends knowing. The want to become mascot is rooted in the drive from North Augusta to Columbia.
And I just loved Cockies and the school, and I don't know, I just always loved it all. And grew up so close, only an hour away, so we would just drive up here all the time.
It was a family tradition with her mom and sister going to USC.
Only applied here for college. I didn't apply to go anywhere else. And so if I didn't get in here, I wouldn't be in college.
Which drove her passion to becoming cocky and giving her a view that many don't see, like hugging Dawn Staley when the women's team won this year's SEC championship.
I'm cross-eyed and I'm like, what is this? And then I look up and it's just confetti everywhere, and then I just started rolling around in the confetti.
And countless other memories she'll cherish forever. In Columbia, Nick Veland on your side.
One of the great traditions when the senior Cockies get to take the feet and go across the stage and let everybody know who they are. Pretty extensive process to becoming Cocky. I know one person who was Cocky in college, another one who applied and got decently far in the process but didn't make it. And yeah, that's there's a tryout and all sorts of stuff that go along with it. Well, Sylvester's not done at USC. She plans to stay there and get her master's as she ends her Cocky duties. So congrats on graduating, a couple great years there as Cocky, and good luck with the next chapter. Go enjoy some football games now in the stands. Enjoy the fan side of things.
I'm a little bit jealous,
The Burke County bailiff got a fun surprise yesterday. Rosa Moore has worked as a bailiff at the Burke County Courthouse for 19 years. She turns 90 on Sunday, so her coworkers threw a little surprise party. Still got the dance moves there at 90 years old. Her birthday also falls on Mother's Day, so a big milestone for her. Congrats, still looking great, and got some good moves there at 90 years old. Well, the COVID-19 pandemic is officially over. Our Abby Casores takes a look at what this looks like for us in Georgia.
It's therefore with great hope that I declare COVID-19 over as a global health emergency.
The World Health Organization and here in the U.S., officials declared the pandemic is over. Since 2020, the Georgia Department of Public Health reported more than 2 million cases, 140,000 hospitalizations, and 35,000 deaths.
When I walk around, I see people going around about their everyday life. No one would believe that a couple of years ago we were on complete shutdown.
Dr. Cecil Bennett says the ending of the emergency means the way the state tracks COVID cases will change. Programs for free testing and vaccinations will end.
To think where we've come as a country, as a world in 3 years, it's really remarkable.
Still, with the new variant out there, he suggests people who are considered high risk may need to wear masks in crowded spaces. He likens COVID now to the common flu, still contagious and deadly.
It's still dangerous, don't get me wrong. Remember, the flu kills anywhere from 30 to 50,000 Americans annually, and COVID could possibly do the same.
He says those changes will have a greater impact on lower income communities who are already more likely to have more severe symptoms. A report from the insurance group and data tracking site Value Penguin found that lower income Americans who tested positive for COVID-19 are more likely to have longer lasting symptoms. More than 40% of COVID-19 positive people who make less than $35,000 annually report having long COVID symptoms like fatigue, shortness of breath, fever, headaches, sleep disturbances, and brain fog. For people who make $200,000 or more a year, that number is about 17%. While this decision will impact services here in our state, Governor Kemp's office says Georgia was ahead of the federal government. They've already worked to transition, and their focus is now on the health care needs of all Georgians. In Atlanta, I'm Abby Kasouris.
All right, thanks for that, Abby. And the World Health Organization says Mpox is no longer a public health emergency. This ends an official designation that's been in place since July of 2022. It's previously known as monkeypox. Lifting the emergency doesn't mean the work is over. Since Mpox still poses public health challenges, it just shows reported cases are down, and the U.S. alone had more than 30,000 reported cases. It's a free program that, through DPH, aimed at supporting expecting mothers from pregnancy to the birth of their baby. It's also called the EASE program. Patient navigator Reverend Lisa Ann Wheeler says the program doesn't take the place of a woman's OBGYN. It's in addition to that, and hopefully brings down infant mortality rates.
We were addressing, as Kim shared with you, the very high fetal infant mortality rates. They are through the roof in Georgia. So this program will address that.
As part of the program, mothers to be also get free items like bassinets and other infant items. If you want more information, you can give them a call, 706-833-7195. Again, that's 706-833-7195. We do have that number up on our website, WRDW.com. The new Georgia Board of Education approved the Georgia Board of Education approved new K-12 English language arts standards. The next few years will be dedicated to training teachers on those new standards. This latest change will pull the Peach State fully out of the Common Core state standards. Senator John Ossoff is among 3 U.S. senators working to make it easier for first responders and teachers to buy their first homes. The Helper Act was introduced in Congress. It stands for Homes for Every Local Protector, Educator, and Responder. If passed, it would establish a one-time home loan program for first responders and teachers to buy their first house. It would be through the Federal Housing Administration. Well, it's a push to keep your child safe from sexual predators. U.S. Senator John Ossoff and Senator Lindsey Graham are working on legislation to prosecute predators who target children online. It's called Project Safe Childhood Act. The bipartisan bill would strengthen protections for victims, increase funding for federal prosecutors and law enforcement, and add more U.S. attorneys to prosecute child sex abuse cases. Fort Benning in Columbus, Georgia, shedding its Confederate name. The Army post will now be known as Fort Moore in honor of retired Lieutenant General Harold Moore and his wife. Oops, wrong video. There we go. Here's what the commanding general had to say.
Our name may be changing. Our mission is not. We will continue to train soldiers and leaders to fight and win in the crucible of ground combat, and there is no more important place to be right now than Fort Moore.
Fort Benning was one of 9 Confederate-named military installations getting a new name. Fort Gordon, also one of those 9, set to become Fort Eisenhower sometime this fall. 2 patients from last week's mass shooting in Midtown Atlanta have been released from the hospital. That shooting was in the waiting room of a medical building in Midtown. Amy St. Pierre was killed, 4 others injured after the alleged shooter, 24-year-old Dion Patterson, opened fire during an appointment. The 4 other injured victims are Lisa Glynn, Georgette Whitlow, Jasmine Daniels, and Alicia Hollinger. Doctors say the other 2 patients who remain in the hospital have been moved to from the intensive care unit and are progressing well. Just before midnight, a public health law that limited migration during the pandemic is set to expire. Title 42 started in 2020, and now new rules will take its place, but not before a lot of people plan to come to the U.S.
There are so many difficulties through the way, and it's not easy to start from zero.
It was just last year when Jose Puerto Rivero made the long journey from Venezuela here to Atlanta.
They help us with the hotel. They help us with some food.
He credits the Latin American Association with giving him the help he needed. CEO Santiago Marquez says they're prepared to do the same thing as Title 42 ends Thursday. Last year, they helped 700 families.
Giving them a comfortable place to be where they feel safe. And then, of course, trying to figure out what they need. And we all know they're going to need shelter. They're going to need some legal help.
The lifting of the Title 42 public health order does not mean our border is open.
The Department of Homeland Security Secretary Alejandro Mayorkas says Title 42 will be replaced with Title 8. Now, migrants who cross the border without authorization must prove they're eligible asylum seekers or face consequences.
Subject to at least a 5-year bar on re-entry into the United States and can face criminal prosecution if they attempt to cross again.
Marquez says those who come here are trying to provide a better life for themselves and their families.
These folks are coming to work. They're not coming to take from us. They're coming to contribute.
Marquez also says those who come here are trying to provide a better life for themselves and for their families. Let's cross over the river now to South Carolina. With the clock striking 5 o'clock yesterday, South Carolina's legislative session came to an end for the year. But lawmakers' work is not done yet, and they'll be back in Columbia next week. Our State House reporter Mary Green explains why.
Before the legislative session ends each year, the House and Senate typically put an agreement in place that outlines the reasons they can return to Columbia, like finalizing the state budget. There isn't such an agreement in place right now, so that means the governor can call the legislature back here to the State House at any time, and he plans to do that next week for another debate on abortion.
We are going to come back next Tuesday, May 16th, and be prepared to be here as long as it takes.
The House will be taking up a bill that bans most abortions after around 6 weeks, the time opponents argue before many women even know they're pregnant. It would allow for limited exceptions for the mother's life, sexual assault victims, and fatal fetal anomalies. The Senate already passed this bill, so if it passes the House, senators will likely be back in 2 weeks to decide if they'll agree to any changes the House makes and send the bill to the governor, or if they'll try to work out a compromise. Republicans hold a supermajority in the House, but Democrats are already planning to put up a fight. This week, the 8 female Democratic representatives carried in more than 1,000 amendments they say they've already drafted on the bill. On Thursday, before debate even began, House Republicans voted to cut off any additional amendments from being filed and limit how much time they can debate them and the bill as a whole. Speaker of the House Merle Smith told members they won't leave until they're finished.
We are not going to be breaking, so bring supper, dinner, breakfast, lunch, whatever, for days or however long you want to get through amendments, but we're going to get through that bill and have a final vote on that bill.
When lawmakers return here starting next week, they can continue work on any other bill before them, not just the abortion bill. So there's not as much urgency around the State House today to get work done before the 5 p.m. deadline when the session ends, as there typically would be on the last day. Reporting from the State House, I'm Mary Green.
All right, thanks for that, Mary. And unlike other states, South Carolina has failed to enact tighter abortion restrictions after the Supreme Court overturned Roe v. Wade last summer. So abortion is legal in South Carolina before about 20 weeks into a pregnancy. A bill in South Carolina will give money to families who have lost a loved one in the line of duty. If a first responder is involved in a pre-retirement death benefit program and dies on the job in a crash, their families can get $75,000. But with this bill, that amount can jump to $150,000 if they die on the job by an unlawful act or responding to a call.
These things happen so minusculely to us that it falls by the wayside and it doesn't come to the forefront until we have another death. It is not free money because this is money trying to take care of a family, once again, that was looking out for someone that wasn't necessarily their family.
It becomes law once the governor signs it. SLED has revealed more details about that DUI crash in Folly Beach that killed a bride on her wedding night and injured 3 others. A report from SLED reveals the driver had a blood alcohol level of 0.26%, which is 3 times the legal limit in South Carolina. After the crash, officers asked Jamie Komorowski what happened, to which she replied, "I was driving and all of a sudden something hit me." She is currently facing charges of DUI, causing serious bodily injury and death, and reckless homicide. Both Republicans and Democrats are reacting to CNN's town hall meeting Wednesday night with former President Donald Trump. The primetime special saw the GOP's leading candidate talk about the 2020 election, abortion, and the ongoing war with Ukraine and Russia.
Reverberations today in New Hampshire and across American politics in the wake of former President Donald Trump's incendiary statements at Wednesday night's town hall. Republican Senator Todd Young, who supported Trump in 2020, was asked if the performance concerned him.
Of course it does. That's why I don't intend to support him for the Republican nomination.
New Hampshire resident Kristen Burke said she wouldn't vote for Trump again.
I just think there was too much havoc that went on while he was in his presidency, and I think it was too much for the country.
In front of a Trump-friendly crowd, he rehashed false claims that the 2020 election was stolen.
It was a rigged election.
And lashed out at accuser E. Jean Carroll, one day after a civil jury found Trump had sexually abused her.
She's a whack job.
That didn't sit well with New Hampshire independent voter Melanie Morton.
I think it's amazing that he continues to shame and put her down.
Trump also called January 6 a beautiful day.
They were there with love in their heart.
But the assault was deadly, with more than 140 police officers injured.
It was chaos.
We were fighting for our life.
Trump said he'd pardon a large portion of the rioters.
Any thought on Trump?
House Speaker Kevin McCarthy ignored questions about it, but a Missouri Republican senator weighed in.
But if you're asking me, do I think he should pardon people who engaged in rioting behavior? No.
President Biden posted a video attacking Trump for the remarks, tweeting, "Do you want 4 more years of that?" On the war in Ukraine, Trump refused to say Vladimir Putin was a war criminal or whether he backed Ukraine.
Do you want Ukraine to win this war?
I don't think in terms of winning and losing.
Former New Jersey Republican Governor Chris Christie said he was stunned.
I think he's a coward, and I think he's a puppet of Putin. I really do.
Leading New Hampshire Republican Jason Osborne said Trump's turn benefited potential challenger Ron DeSantis, whom he supports.
I think the opening was there, and this just kind of solidifies it. And President Trump is not changing his routine. He's not changing his rhetoric.
Sources close to the ongoing investigations of Trump say he also might have put himself in legal jeopardy by talking in detail about how he handled classified records at Mar-a-Lago and about his views on January 6th. A big development in the unsolved disappearance of an American teenager, Natalie Holloway, who went missing in Aruba 18 years ago. Peru's government is allowing the prime suspect to be extradited to the U.S. on charges of trying to extort Holloway's family. Elaine Quijano tells us this brings the family a step closer to justice.
It was in 2005 when 18-year-old Natalie Holloway disappeared while on a high school class trip to Aruba. Holloway was last seen leaving a bar with Jorn Vandersloot and 2 other men. No charges were ever filed in Holloway's disappearance. Her body has never been recovered. Now, Vandersloot could be extradited to the United States. Vandersloot is in Peru, serving a 28-year sentence for the 2010 murder of Peruvian student Stephanie Flores.
How unusual is it, Ricky, to have an extradition take place so many years after an indictment like this?
Many times it is the political situation
that may have been cold about extradition that suddenly, much later, becomes warm.
Vandersloot is accused of trying to extort $250,000 from Holloway's family, allegedly promising he would lead them to her body. Prosecutors say Vandersloot collected $25,000 in cash and then lied about where she was buried. Holloway's disappearance generated intense media coverage that some criticized, accusing the media of ignoring other missing women.
What made this story stand out was this public plea on the part of the mother. And it was also the fact that Aruba was a very popular destination for American tourists. There was a concerted public relations campaign to get her back.
Vandersloot's attorney says he plans to fight it. In a statement, Natalee Holloway's mother thanked the president of Peru and U.S. officials. Her daughter would have been 36 years old now, and she said she was blessed to have had Natalee in her life for 18 years. A night of healing in Allen, Texas last night. The community gathering to remember those killed in a mass shooting at the outlet mall there this past weekend. Multiple vigils were held, the largest at the site of the shooting. Lily Zhang has more from that vigil, as well as an update on the man who survived the attack.
As the sun sets in Allen, a soft melody of Amazing Grace fills the air. It's been heavy over the past 5 days.
And my heart just breaks for these families and the two little girls that are gone and their mom that survived and the family and that poor little boy. And I mean, it's like, how do you go on from that? You know, and you just, as a mom, your heart breaks for those people.
Laura Barclay's flowers add to the memorial at Allen Premium Outlets. It has quickly grown since Saturday when a gunman killed 8 people, injuring at least 7 more. One of the surviving victims is Irvin Walker. His daughter says he was shot at least twice and may undergo a second surgery this week.
One thing I want to challenge everyone to do today is to call a loved one that you haven't talked to in a long time. Express to them how much you love them, because you never know when it'll be the last time you'll be able to talk to them.
Hundreds attended the vigil Wednesday night as they tried to heal.
This is Allen. This is our city, and we are Allen strong. Don't forget that.
There is also a search for answers, turning Wednesday to faith, praying for an end to violence.
So that not one more person has to go home and wonder why.
Hospital officials say the conditions of the remaining victims have been improving, only one still in critical condition. All of those affected by the mass shooting physically and emotionally are expected to have a long road to recovery. Online communities are becoming the first platforms where people are expressing their intentions to cause harm, and it can come in the form of provocative jokes, in the form of memes. Ken Dalanian has the details.
The patch worn by the mass shooter who took 8 lives at a Texas mall last week meant nothing to most people. But the acronym RWDS, for Right Wing Death Squad, has for years been a popular meme in far-right circles. It's the latest example of how experts say violent extremists are using memes to fuel radicalization.
It's like grassroots organizing, and that you feel like you're really involved, but it's also at scale, and that's what a meme can do. And they spread like wildfire.
The U.S. National Counterterrorism Center recently warned in an intelligence bulletin that memes are full of coded language that makes it harder for social media platforms to flag them as extremist content.
The intent is to hide these provocative and extremist messaging under a veil of irony to avert detection.
Memes have been a feature of hate-motivated violence for years. The man sentenced to life in prison for killing 10 people at a Buffalo supermarket last year plastered his gun with racist slogans. In the winter of 2020, Aaron Swenson posted these crude anti-police memes on Facebook. A few months later, Swenson, a self-described member of the far-right extremist group, the Boogaloo Boys, started a Facebook live stream capturing what he said was a mission to hunt and kill a police officer. Prosecutors say this is the moment he tried to ambush a Texas patrolman. He ultimately was sentenced to more than 50 years in prison for attempted murder.
We can see how these things that appear innocuous as phony sequel jokes, as meme cartoons, they can really rapidly and dangerously convert into real-world violence.
After both Facebook and Twitter cracked down on extremist users following the January 6th attack, experts say many groups have flocked to more loosely moderated platforms such as Gab, Telegram, and Discord, where Airman Jack Teixeira is accused of posting classified documents.
I think these gaming sites have really come into the fore in public notice as a way for people to be radicalized and then organized, unfortunately.
But law enforcement faces the twin challenges of anonymity and free speech protections. A lot of extremist content is posted under pseudonyms, and the FBI has been reluctant to monitor public social media posts by Americans.
I don't think we've taken this homegrown extremism seriously enough, and we've been very hesitant. And of course, we need to protect the First Amendment, respect the First Amendment, but we also have to take extremism seriously.
All right, moving on here. It is. Whoop, hang on. Got an old lower third in there. Okay, there we go. It's Lung Cancer Action Week. The American Lung Association hopes to raise awareness for the leading cause of cancer deaths in the U.S. 47-year-old Aaron Hawkins has run 46 marathons, but that didn't stop him from getting lung cancer. He says early detection is key.
My story would be completely different if I got diagnosed a year later.
Doctors say there's a growing number of young people like Hawkins being diagnosed. Smoking remains the main cause of lung cancer. Random exposure and pollution also increases the risk. All right, check this out. The Milwaukee County Sheriff's Office is reminding people that doing this on an interstate is both dangerous and illegal. Traffic cameras captured a man on a lime green scooter riding down I-94, the busy interstate that runs through Milwaukee. These rented scooters are supposed to be programmed to shut down in restricted zones, but for whatever reason, this one seems to have stayed on. The sheriff's office was dispatched to find the scooter interstate joyrider, but was ultimately unable to track them down. But yeah, don't do that. That's not very smart to do. That could get you in a lot of trouble, and you might not even come out on the other side. Millions of people continue to work from home or remotely, and many won't be going back to the office as much as they did before the pandemic sent everybody home. That opens up many options when you're looking for gift ideas for moms, dads, or grads. Our consumer tech reporter Jamie Tucker rounds up a few tech gadgets for anyone who takes their work on the road.
Whether you're looking for a gift for someone who is retired, working right now, or looking for a job right out of high school or college, these tech gifts can make their lives a lot easier.
Nearly everyone takes their job on the road these days. Remote workers may require more storage for their laptop. Kingston Secure Hard Drives provides that storage with an additional measure of security. The solid-state portable hard drives are encrypted, and get this, they require a password to access what's stored on it. If you leave behind any normal hard drive, anyone can see what's on there simply by plugging it into a computer. But the Kingston Iron Key Vault is aptly named because no one can use it without a passcode. This one has 960 gigabytes of storage, multi-password access for admin and users. No matter how important your documents and files are, still no one can access them without the password. And the keypad shuffles the numbers to prevent someone from looking over your shoulder to remember the numbers you punched in. No one likes business cards, and there's no need for them now in 2023. Digital business cards like the Popple are easier and a lot more impressive. You set up your information, anything you'd normally put on a business card, plus links to a LinkedIn account, social media, and a website. When you want to share your information, they just tap their phone to add you to their contacts. Popple adds the convenience of cards, phone card stickers, even an Apple Watch band. The Popple digital business cards are an easy way to share all of the information you want to share and leaves a pretty good impression. They'll say, hey, that's cool.
These tech gadgets make it easy to share information and protect the information you don't want to share. That's What the Tech. I'm Jamie Tucker.
The newest episode of Aerial Augusta now. The research expands through the entire CSRA and beyond, but Augusta University is a staple in our community. Graduates end up in many different career fields, including several who work right here at News 12. In this week's Aerial Augusta, we give you a bird's eye view of AU. With roots going back nearly 200 years, Augusta University is one of the oldest colleges in the university system of Georgia. It was founded in 1828. It's gone by a number of names over the years, Georgia Health Sciences University and Augusta State to name a couple, before becoming Augusta University in 2015. The university is broken up into 4 local campuses. The Health Sciences campus downtown is the founding college at AU. On top of having all the university's medical programs, the Health Sciences campus also has the Wellness Center, Cancer Center, Dental College, and 2 residence halls. Over on Walton Way is the Somerville campus, which wasn't used by AU until long after it was founded. Somerville was originally used by the U.S. Army through World War II. In 1957, the land was given to the local Board of Education, who used it to open Junior College of Augusta. From there, it's grown into the campus we see today. Most of the undergrad programs are at the Somerville campus. The third campus is Forest Hills, the athletics campus. Founded in 1991, Forest Hills has Christenberry Fieldhouse for the basketball and volleyball teams, baseball and softball fields, and of course, Forest Hills Golf Club, home of the 2-time national champion Augusta University men's golf team. The fourth campus is the Nathan Deal Campus for Innovation along the Savannah River. It's named after former Georgia Governor Nathan Deal and is home to the School of Computer and Cyber Sciences. The university has satellite medical campuses in Savannah, Albany, Rome, and Athens. They've partnered with UGA, the U.S. Army Cyber Center at Fort Gordon, and East Georgia State in Swainsboro, opening up more opportunities for more students. The AU Health System includes Augusta University Medical Center and the Children's Hospital of Georgia, 2 hospitals with more than 600 beds combined. Some big medical breakthroughs have happened at AU as well, including the first documented case of sickle cell with a full autopsy in 1923. From medicine to athletics to business and more, AU has a little bit of something for all 10,000 students who call this school home. So there you go, latest episode of Ariel Augusta. And you can catch all of our episodes online if you go to the website. Up here, there's Ariel Augusta tab. You can see them all right here, episode 14, Augusta University. Also, you can see them on our streaming app as well. We'll talk more about that once we finish up here. To sports now, the Strom-Thurmond baseball team has had a successful season filled with passion as they honor a former teammate. Dan Booth caught up with the players ahead of their game yesterday.
Good morning, everyone. The Strom-Thurmond baseball team has been putting up some crazy numbers this season and in the playoffs in particular. But what makes their postseason run even more special is the fact they're still #RyanStrong and they're playing every game like it's their last.
In January of 2021, Ryan White, a close friend, classmate, and teammate of many of the players on the Strom-Thurmond baseball team, passed away in a car accident.
They suffered that same loss that I suffered, and probably even greater to an extent.
Ryan would have been a senior this year alongside his baseball teammates, who are still honoring his life more than 2 years after his passing.
It's a joyous thing that we can still celebrate Ryan and we can come out on this field and win and play big and play hard and keep him in the back of our mind that we know that if he was here, he would be doing his best.
In addition to their inspired play on the diamond, the players are wearing wristbands and T-shirts, have custom RW helmet decals, and there are banners all around their baseball field.
The wristbands and the banners and all that stuff's great, and it really is, but really and truly his spirit's just with us.
I said, Lord, please move them out in some way, somehow. And I said, Ryan, you have got to remind them that you are that angel in the outfield, that you are still out there, and let them feel your presence.
I'm wearing his number this year, and he would be in center field, but ends up being the other way around. I'm in center field. So it makes it a little bit more special for us. Just want to get the job done even more.
While the Rebels still show their love and support for Ryan, Tracy shows her love and support by being at as many games as she can, cheering on the ball players she says were like brothers to her son.
The fact that they are honoring Ryan at the same time just blows me away. I'm just in awe of their support. I'm in awe of their love. I'm in awe of their genuinity that they still, still want to support Ryan and be there and just be good people.
When it comes to the playoff matchup between the Rebels and Gray Collegiate, this game was tied for most of the way after Justice Hammett put a jolt into this ball, sending it for a ride over the left field fence for a 2-run homer. Extra innings was needed to decide this one, and the War Eagles put up 5 runs in the 9th to seal the deal. This means Strom Thurmond will travel to Pillion for an elimination game on Saturday. That's it for sports. Have a great day, everybody.
All right, thanks for that, Dan. Good luck to Strom. I know we're not supposed to, cheer for teams at all, but hard not to cheer for the Rebels this year. It is career week at Garrett Elementary School. Some first grade students transformed their classroom into a store. Our Will Volk gives us a look at what they're learning for the future.
Opening day at the Eagle Perch store, and there's a line out the door. Students at Garrett Elementary School are ready to spend their Eagle bucks.
Our children are studying goods and services, consumers and producers, and supply and demand. So we took it a step further and decided to actually open up a store.
Rashawn Dixon turned her first graders into employees. After going through the interview and training process, these kids are ready to work as cashiers, managers, custodians, even security guards.
If you teach them, they can do it. They're showing you now that they can do it.
There are enough items here for the whole school to go shopping. Dixon says she paid for a lot of this herself, but she thinks it was money well spent.
I mean, look at this. I would definitely do this again. No hesitation at all. Even if it means breaking the bank, we do what we have to do for our children.
Dixon says seeing her class do this makes it all worth it.
They mean the world to me, and I wish I could give them the world.
She already gave them an experience to remember. In Augusta, Will Volk on your side.
Props to that teacher going above and beyond outside the box to give those kids an experience they won't forget. Other classes at Garrett Elementary also took part in Career Week. Some students even became teachers. So pretty cool there getting that experience and just changing things up for a day. That benefits kids a whole lot. You can find out about these stories and much more up on our website, WRDW.com. If you're watching this on our website, be sure to download our WRDW streaming app. You can do that on your Roku, Fire Stick, Apple TV, whatever your favorite streaming device is. Also, be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel. Let me show you how to do that real quick. If you're on YouTube, just search WRDW News 12. And then you can just subscribe right over here. We are live right now. As you can see, it's going to pop up an ad, but I'll show you in just a second that we are indeed live. Look at that. That's me showing you that we are live. Pretty cool. So, yeah, we do this every morning, and then throughout the day, we do our weather updates and whatnot as well. So if you do that, you get up to date with all of our first alert forecasts, I-team investigations, everything that we do, live newscast going to be up there as well. So do those couple things, and you will not miss anything that we've got going on here at News 12. We will be back with News 12 now at about 11:30. We've got an interview with former Washington Wilkes head football coach Sid Fritz, who just announced his retirement not too long ago. So Dan and I are going to be catching up with him for some sports talk on this Friday. So we will see you back here at 11:30 for that. Until then, have a good one. Oh, and also go check out the Morning Mix, 9 o'clock.